everybody, I'm just back today just doing a quick video. This is a little bit of a post-battle report, but yesterday I had the pleasure to play some Kill Team again, but this time, rather than playing the normal Kill Team rules by GW, we actually played the Heralds of Ruin Kill Team rules, which is an unsupported, more of a fan-supported set of rules. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but I'll put a link to their website in the description below. It is really, really good in my opinion, and one of the things that's really nice is they actually put out lists for all the armies in addition to the rules. It is 50 points higher in the sense that you're paying a 250 point game instead of 200, which I actually think makes a little bit of a difference too. You could always say you can go 50 points more and add more, but then I guess where's the sweet spot for what you're trying to do in Kill Team when you're trying to stay small? This is a little bit of a different list than I did last time. For those of you that may remember, I believe I put a video up where I showed my last Kill Team. It was Warp Spider heavy. I actually had a number of Warp Spiders. I still had the Warp Spider Exarch, but then I had some Dire Avengers and just a lesser amount. And that was really my Kill Team. It was sort of like a squad of Warp Spiders and a squad of Dire Avengers. This time, with the 250 point list, I actually had 12 Guardians, a leader that's a Warp Spider, 2 support Warp Spiders, and because of the kind of list it is in Kill Team with the Eldar, if you have aspects, then you can unlock these as troops. They're not special units, they're troops. Otherwise they're special units. But then I actually had a Warwalker with a Bright Lance and a Scatter Laser. And in all fairness, like I was playing against my opponent who plays Black Templars usually against me, and he basically had 10 Space Marines, one being a Apothecary, one being a Warden, and a Heavy Bolter. It was he was not prepared for a vehicle. Like he didn't even though he'd read the rules and things, like I just because it's Kill Team, I just don't think he was thinking vehicles when he made up his list. And the fact that I brought a Warwalker kind of surprised him. I'll talk about, I guess, a couple of things. It was a good, enjoyable game, but this list did very well against the Templars. Like the basic stats, and we played Hold the Ground, I think it's called. Basically, you have to hold as many buildings as possible. It's not based on kill points. I essentially annihilated all 10 of his Space Marines, and I lost 4 Guardians, no Warp Spiders, and the Warwalker didn't take any damage. The only way he really could have, and I think he did the right thing, the only way he really could have taken the Warwalker down, if that's what was his aim, and I think smartly he decided to ignore it for the most part, is if he aimed most of his bolters at it, because he needed 6s, really to be able to, he would have to wound on a 6 to pull a whole point off, and it would have been possible for sure, for him to take it down, I think, with enough concentration, but I think it would have took him away from the goal of the mission, and so I think he did the right thing and stayed away from that. I think I'll talk about this list a little bit, and then I'll just talk about my thoughts on Kill Team again. This list worked really well for me, and in the end, I normally take Fast Shot always with my Exarch because I like to get that extra shot in. But if you read the rules of Kill Team, particularly these ones, unless you're doing suppression fire and you have units within 3 inches, your shots are always just going to be on one model. It's not like in 40k. Proper, where I could shoot at a squad with my extra shot and get the benefit of killing an extra guy. Like I may end up just killing him, again and again, and so basically I elected to not take the Fast Shot, which is the first time in a while, and for the first time I've never taken Power Blades. I don't think I've ever taken Power Blades, but because he's my leader in Kill Team, and I thought I could end up in a challenge, I took the Power Blades for the first time. But the big thing, the Warwalker killed maybe 3 Marines, just out in the open, just overkill, like 4 Scatter Lasers and a Bright Lance at a Marine. It really was more of a deterrent in some ways, trying to move around and guys just steering away from it, than really being a key factor in the game. To be honest, the Guardians were really, taking Guardians were the key for me in this one. They're cheap. I can run them in to try to capture as many buildings as possible, and because it's an individual game, they could basically split up into all different directions if I want. I essentially went like a few different directions with them. They also, the Blade Storm really helped me out. It took some Marines down. So really, I think that was the underlying key to this game, was the fact that I took the cheap units that actually can be quite deadly when you roll 6s to wound, you know. Besides that, one thing that was really fun is that it was towards the end of the game, you know, the game was kind of, it was pretty much set is how it was going, because my opponent was down to his last couple guys. He had the heavy bolter and the warden were back in my deployment area, taking on some guardians, and one of my guardians actually took out the warden. But then, and that's kind of another reason why, like I just got a lot of great dice rolling with the guardians, but then my leader, my warp spider Exarch, you know, had teleported in, warp jumped in right prior to that, and he was meant to take on. I wanted glory basically, and he was meant to take on the warden, but then all that was left was the heavy bolter guy, which in all honesty, I mean, like, even an Exarch, I think, can go down pretty reasonably against a Space Marine in hand-to-hand combat because of that toughness 3. And so, and the strength, the low strength on in hand-to-hand combat with Eldar. And so, people may disagree with me, but that's my observation. And so, with my Warp Spiders, I tend to keep them out of hand-to-hand combat, but basically I told my friend, my opponent, that I'm going for glory here, you know, this is for fun, and I took the power, I paid the 20 points for the power blade, so I'm charging you, and basically I went in and charged him and sliced him up with the Exarch, and that was kind of my last glory. That's the final roll that ended the game, is he teleported in with his power blades and took him out. But in general, a couple of observations is that I really like Kill Team. It's invigorated my interest in 40K even more. I mean, the painting and the models are what always keep me interested in 40K, and I like in the books. But from a playing perspective, the interesting thing is, if we were playing 40K like proper, and I'll take squads of 3 war walkers. It's no big deal. I mean, they're kind of like paper tigers, you know. Basically, they do a lot of damage. They're great, but you get near them, you can take them apart pretty easily. Like, nobody bats an eye on whether they can take one out. But when we were playing Kill Team, and I told my friend that I was bringing a Warwalker, he's like, "Oh my god!" And in the game, like, the Warwalker was walking around like a Titan, and it's like all of a sudden the value of the model and the respect of the model changes dramatically. When you're playing this way. And so, I mean, literally at one point, the Warden, the heavy bolter guy, and a Space Marine were like in my area, and they were behind a wall, and the Warwalker was walking on the other side of the wall, and we were joking around that these guys are going after the Guardians, but they hear these heavy footsteps coming from behind them, because, you know, these things are huge. I mean, in real life, if you'd be terrified if something like that was coming down on you, you know. But the scale of the game creates, in my mind, more of a narrative perspective, and that's not completely fair, because I think big games can actually be very much narrative based, but I think it's easier to relate and respect to a wider variety of models and what they mean in the setting in a smaller point game like this. And so it was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy it, and I can't wait to play again. Like, you know, I can't wait to play my Marines at one point in Kill Team, but then also next time I'm going to switch up my list. I'm not going to use Warp Spiders because I like them too much and I use them a lot, and they're really, really good in the game. And I'm just going to try my other models, something different for Eldar. Just mix it up. And that's the other thing that's fun, is that I could just do, like, I can't even get the number of combinations of Kill Team with all the models I have for Eldar that I could think of. I mean, like, there's just so many ways I could do this. Because, you know, I have a fair amount of Eldar models now. So yeah, you know, this is just really, really, really fun. Like, I would really recommend, if you like Warhammer, but you shy away from the scale of the Warhammer game, I really recommend that you check out Kill Team. I will likely still play Warhammer at certain points in the larger games, and particularly 500, but then even 1500, 1800 games, 2000. I'll likely do that, again at one point in the future, because I still like to buy the bigger models and stuff. But I could see this as being by far the main way I play Warhammer Kill Team. To me, it was just so much fun. I will put the, I believe it's got Heralds of Ruin, I believe it's called. I'll put the link down below. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, and yeah, this is my little weekend update. Take care.